All right, everybody, Antique Motorcycle Revival, and it's been a minute since we've done a video and talked about oil the last time, and we just have been having some fun with these old motorcycles. I want to do a couple of things today in two different directions. One, I've been working on this 45, and I thought, I need to really show. I should have showed it while I was doing it, but I'm going to show you how that I worked on the oil drippage. I did a video a while back, why Harley Davidsons leak oil, and I showed that they have oilers on them, and so I had to work on the 45 here. This is the one that I ride all over the place, and it was dripping a little bit too much oil onto the primary chain. So I'm going to get her to come over here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But right here in your primary chain, I just had to tighten that up. There is an oiler right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Pull in closer, see that right there is an oiler. You can see it there. And so what that does, it drips. It comes through the motor. There's a little channel that comes all the way from this side over at the oil pump, and there's a channel over there that drips the oil. And so right here, what you have to do is you have to take this screw loose right here, this one. I'm going to show where it's at, so if somebody wants to do this, they'll see it. Right there, there's that screw, and there's little thin shims in there, and a shim, I think I've got this figured out on this bike. I don't know if it'd be the same on all of them, but that shim amounts to about 15 seconds of about half throttle drippage onto that chain. And so if you take a shim out, you can, if it's way too much, you can pull a shim out, a thin shim, and slow it down. And you really, all you need is about, really a minute is a lot at half on the throttle. I'm thinking about putting a belt on it, belt drive. They're a little bit expensive, but it'd be nice to have and not have to worry about this no more. But there's what those shims look like, just little shims. So I just took two of them out and slowed it down. It's leaking, dripping oil now about 2 times a minute. That might still be quite a bit, but they should leave. What they say is that underneath the primary cover, because that's open, that underneath the primary cover, that you'll have about a spot about that big around. And I've got a little bit more than that. So anyway, the why Harley Davidsons leak oil, I explained that they had, total loss system on them. 1936 knucklehead, came out with a recirculating system. Then 1937, the flatheads was changed over. And so this 45 here is a 42 model, was changed over at that time. So I got this couple Hondas I'm working on right now, and the reason for that, for all of you that want just to hear about the old Harley Davidsons, that's what I really love too, is I've got grandkids, everybody, and I've got one that is exceptionally, just loves these motorcycles. And so I'm going to work on 2 of them. I'm getting the first one here. I picked up this little Z50 the other day, and I got a good deal on it. The guy is a cool guy, but I want you to take a look at this thing. Look at this little Z50 here. This is kind of what you're looking at for it. So it's going to be a cool bike, but the carburetor is locked up tight, and I'm going to show you what I do on these things and what I believe to be the best method for getting them fixed. But one of the things working on these bikes, these old Hondas, these little 4-stroke Hondas like this, they really made the name for Honda. They were so dependable. Once you get them going, they would run and run and run, and they were just so dependable. And so, but they said this one has for years and years. And anyway, I'm going to try to get this cover off for the points to look at it. It's not got any fire right now. Even if you turn it, and I'm not sure what it is, I'm going to have to break it down. The other thing here, when we go to look in this and see kind of how it looks, and I'm pretty sure I already know how it's going to look, is these carburetors, where they're just this like cast aluminum stuff, and you, especially with ethanol and different things like that in the gas or just gas, it ruins them. I've never been able. I've rebuilt a lot of carburetors. I'll show you here just for a second. These linkards, for instance, these old linkards are brass. This is an M52, which is the big flathead carburetor. I just finished this one actually, and this is for the big flatheads, and it's an 1.25 inches on that, just a little bigger. And so this is the one I'm going to use on the racer, the 45 racer. I've got the heads, or the number 6 heads, the ported out cylinders, the cams, and everything for the WR style 45 is what it is, and that's the carb for that. But these brass, you can restore them 1,000 times. I mean, you just, and they're so easy. I love these carburetors. They're easy to work on. You can clean them up, put them back together. They work like a charm. The only thing is they don't have a primer pump on them, so that means you've got to prime the motorcycle on choke 2 or 3 kicks, then halfway off, and then go. You're kind of priming it because they don't have a prime pump on it. But these are awesome. But these carburetors, it's on these modern carburetors a little more. This material is it gets corroded on it really bad. And you can see in this gets corroded. I've actually cleaned this, and it was even worse than that. And you just can't do anything with it, rebuilding it. But you can buy these carburetors. My advice, if you're going to fool with these Hondas, buy this aftermarket online, like $40 or something. Be the best move you've ever made. I've bought about 5 or 6 of them. I've had one that didn't work well out of all of them. All the rest of them work like a charm. So, but anyway, I have stripped these before, and I'm trying to get that one out right there. And I've already worked on the other ones, but they were all so tight that you couldn't move them. And I wanted to show this today. This is Vessel Impact Driver. If you are going to work on motorcycles, especially old ones, you want this. This thing, how it works is that you put the screw up against this like this, and as it drives it in with a hammer, it turns it. So you can see down here, watch this as I push in on it. See it turning it? And it will loosen the screws. Before I got one of these, I stripped these out before. I had to drill them. I've had the awfulest time ever was. This stuff gets corroded, and these I've already found them to be impossible with a big screwdriver, even if you put pressure on it. So what I do, I just set this thing up. I'm gonna show you here. I just set this thing up right here on this screw. Hold in on it. It'll break it loose because it's just barely turning it as it goes. And look there. So Vessel Impact Driver, you're going to want one of these. I got this one at a swap meet, and it had, I'll show you here. This is the original. This has got the bits. It's got big bits, you know, for taking out the hard stuff. You can just change them out, and all you gotta do is turn that like this to change directions. And awesome tool. You will want one of these, okay? And so anyway, I'm gonna pull this off real quick, take a look inside, and look how that's the corrosion I was talking about. That's why they were so hard to get out. I got thinking about this when I was working on it. I thought I'm going to do a video to show kind of how that's going to look. Let me go over here and get this flashlight. We'll take a look in here. It actually don't look as bad as I thought it was going to. All right, folks. This is your timing mark right there. Top dead center. Has a little bit of moisture in it. that is not good. And but these points do not look as bad as I thought. And then your coil on these is underneath here. The coil on this bike, you have to drop the motor down, unbolt the motor, drop it down, and I'm about to have to do that because it needs a coil, and drop it down and put a coil up in there. It is a pain to work on. They did do these a little bit better. It's right there, but I think it maybe end up needing a coil. What I'm trying to do is figure out about the spark on this thing, and I did a compression test on it, and it had 120 pounds, which was, you know, that's good on one of these. I really couldn't believe it. When I bought it, I expected it to be just tear it all down, and you know, but it actually feels pretty good. Let me see here. Neutral. Nothing. All right, folks. So the next move, I guess, is going to be to try to determine whether or not there's something going on in here, or if it's got a coil bad. And that's going to be my next move. The points are breaking and they look fairly good. The only thing I'm going to try to do right now is just quickly get a little bit of sandpaper and try my best to just reach in there and try to file these down just a little bit, or clean them up rather. These points, when they set long, especially as long as these has, they will corrode over, and then they won't break the ground for you. So it's how that works is they're breaking the ground on the coil, and you don't have any spark. As much moisture has been in this thing, I would say that it's if I was guessing, I would say the coil's bad. Alright, we'll try it one more time. I got them polished off a little bit. Alright, we'll make sure this other thing too probably wouldn't hurt to bolt that down. I don't know how tight that needs to be. I ended up putting 2 coils in here. I'm gonna try this really quick. Tighten this thing up. If this doesn't work, then we're gonna order some coils, and then we'll do another video whenever we figure that out. But make sure it's got a thing on there. And then that thing's grounded to the all right, folks. Another coil on another one of these older Hondas. What I'm going to do is try to order a coil for this one. I've already got one ordered for that one, and check this thing out and see if we can't get it up and running here for little Nolan to run around in the yard on. I think he's going to really enjoy it. 1980 Z50, and over there's the early version, 1971 CT70. Both of them are crusty and rusty, and I haven't decided whether or not I want to, paint on them or just clean them up somewhat and change the oil, get them running, let them ride them. You don't have to worry as much about them when they burn the grass up with one of them or something like that. So I don't know. Put something in the comments on that. Tell me what you think I ought to do. I don't know whether to restore it or leave it alone, but anyway, I wanted to talk about the vessel today. I was having problems with that. I got this thing out, and I thought, it'd be a good piece of advice for anybody that didn't already know about it. You save you a lot of trouble buying one of them. So until next time, we'll holler at you next week, and we're going to be over at Morris's sometime the next few days, and the racer motor's coming together. We've got the cams in there, got everything set, but we do have to take the cover back off to time the pump underneath the scavenger pump, and I think we're going to do a video on that and show you what that looks like. So, all right, if you don't care, subscribe to the channel, and it helps us out to do that, and hit the like button, and we appreciate it, everybody. We'll see you next week.